Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rslash Tales from Your Server. In today's episode, a regular noticed me trying not to cry behind the bar after a table was rude to me and totally turned my day around. They came in through the kitchen. A customer asked me on the phone to see a menu. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. A regular noticed me trying not to cry behind the bar after a table was rude to me and totally turned my day around. I'm a bartender at a fine dining restaurant, and when I work the lunch shift, I help the server take tables if it gets busy. One afternoon, I had a table make me cry and tell me that I was rude and didn't know how to do my job because I tried to take an empty appetizer plate away without asking first. They were in the middle of a conversation and their main course was almost ready. They shouted at me and everyone just turned around and stared. I had other guests on the floor, and every time I passed by these jerks I could hear them talking sh*t about me. They racked up a nearly $200 bill and didn't leave a tip. I kinda wonder if they made up something to be upset about to justify not tipping on a large check, but whatever. I just dipped out to the bar, which is in the front of the restaurant and away from the main dining room, and asked my food runner to take good care of them so I didn't have to interact with them anymore. Later that afternoon, I had an older man come and sit at my bar. I knew he was a regular and that he lived nearby, but I'd never really spoken to him because he usually wanted to sit in the dining room and not the bar. He was wearing headphones when he sat down, so ignored most of my greeting, and I thought, oh, here we go again. Then he apologized and stated that he was in a hurry and just wanted some ice water and a glass of my favorite red wine that we offered. I talked to him about the wine for a minute while I opened a fresh bottle. I'm studying to become a certified sommelier, so I know a thing or two, and then served it to him. He asked for the check right away. It was only a $14 glass of wine, and after I ran his card I handed him the receipt and thanked him before going to check on my other table. I came back a couple minutes later and his glass was untouched, but he handed me some money wrapped in his receipt and said, "I hope this is enough. I was walking by earlier and you looked like you were having a bad day. I know your lunch shift is almost over. This glass is on me." When I opened the receipt, he'd left me two 20s. I've heard stories of people taking care of their servers like that, but it's never happened to me before. I was so cut up over how my first table treated me that I definitely got teary-eyed again after the regular left my bar. Just a reminder that sometimes the most unassuming customers might have your back. My first table had me feeling less than human, but this guy really reminded me why I do what I do. I find regulars always take care of their server. Plus regulars can say sh*t that most of us can't. I have told this on a comment section before, but about a year ago I was bartending, and we had someone that came in that was just a total pain. Complained about the foam in the pitcher, his food, etc. I grab the bill and leave it for him and walk away, but am still in earshot of that area. I hear a guy who comes in probably every other day say to him, "You were that much of a pain in the ass and that is all you're leaving?" Makes me laugh every time I think about it. That's fantastic. And yet, definitely not something you can say to someone. I had a regular. Max, he was very well off and always came in the morning when I was still opening. 10:30 a.m., and we'd open at 1100, Monday to Friday. He was spectacular. He was kinda like the dad I never had. He tipped 100% every time. Sometimes more. If he found out it was your birthday, he would come back with a card and a cash gift. He was honestly the reason I stayed at that place as long as I did. One day Max came in after being gone about a month. He told me he had went to Scotland, where he is from, and that he'd be leaving again soon and didn't know when he'd be back. Side note: Max loved jewelry. Rings, necklaces, you name it. I always had on some kind of bracelet on and we'd chat about them, as he would empty his man bag full of jewelry onto the bar. We would decide together what went best with his outfit and scarf that day. He was like the best. So on that day he pulled me aside and asked which bracelet in his collection was my favorite. I chose this beautiful green stone bracelet, noted I loved the color and the design, made it look fancy without being overboard. Then he put it on my wrist along with another he said would be a perfect pair. Max died of liver failure a few days later, and that was the last time I ever saw him. He didn't want to burden us. But he actually went to Scotland to say his goodbyes to his family there. And came to the bar to make sure we got to say our goodbye. I think about him often and appreciate his kindness that got me through some tough times. I really miss that man. Sometimes your regulars become your family. When I was a bar manager at a sports bar, we had this regular named Brian. He was a tall older dude, very rough looking, and was a bit of an hole to you if he liked you. He would sometimes claim we were shorting him and a drink just to get a bit of an argument, but he was always respectable in his own weird way. Some people liked him, others don't. Me, I learned to bust his balls right back, and he sort of became my gruff and raspy friend at work. It's funny to me, looking back, thinking about his nasty jokes he'd tell when he was drunk, but everybody kind of liked him still because as rude as he could be sometimes, he was always respectable of our jobs and never interfered. But every time a fight broke out, every time a drunk guest would get confrontational, he was there to back us up, especially me. Pulling apart two big dudes outside and throwing them out? Big Brian was right behind you, ready to jump in if things got bad. A guest yelling at the bartender? Brian would be piping in, saying the things that you wish you could say back to the guest. I love that grumpy old army vet. Every time I drink a bit of Gentleman Jack, I think of that guy. That's awesome. Regulars who treat you right are the best. Regulars really are the best. They're like an extension of comfort while you're running around to all the pain in these tables. Just something they say as I'm passing by the bar, or a couple-second interaction with them can make me feel less frazzled. Regs are the best. They see all the time the **T you have to deal with. Not a server, but a regular. We regulars look at our servers as members of our human family. For those who live alone, you are often the only one who speaks with us some days. Your sweet demeanor and professional attitude mean the world to us. Thank you for taking care of us. Thanks for being a friendly, familiar face on what can sometimes be a horrible day. You make good days better. See you soon. Oh man, back in the 90s I went to this restaurant in Paris, I think it was called Maxine's. Just over $1,000 for 4 people, tiny portions, 1 bottle of wine. Best meal I've had in my life. Anyway, I'd finish my appetizer and somehow without my noticing, my plate would disappear. Or my wine glass would be topped up. Or my coffee would be filled. If only I could have caught them in the act, I could have told them what a **TTY job they were doing. Anyway, sleep easy knowing that your yelly, gossipy, low-class customers don't know the first thing about good service. Going to a restaurant with great food and great service kind of blows your mind. For me, it makes me want to be kind to everyone around me, and to do my work excellently. There is nothing quite like it. In fact, I believe it is in a way an appreciation of art, of beauty. Regular here my boyfriend and I found this neat little country-style restaurant, and since we work graves we would come in 3 or 4 times a month for breakfast after work. One day a server we've had a few times comes up to us and basically asks us if we are having our regular mimosas. It caught us totally off guard and made us feel super special. Never once in our life has a server recognized us, let alone remember what we order. It was a really simple thing, but now we only go on days she works, and I always make sure to tip 30 to 40%. She really makes our mornings special. Not to mention mimosas, thank you to all you servers who really try hard. You are appreciated, I see you. Sorry for formatting. Mobile user. Try not to tell this story to your coworkers, this poor man will get abused. My wife and myself like to eat at this small upscale restaurant on date night about once or twice a month. We always sit in the bar area, because the food comes out faster, and we hardly bother the bartender who tends the tables in the bar. She is awesome, and we always tip $40 on a $100 tab, because she knows our routine and speeds things along. She makes the experience enjoyable. Last few times waiters have been stealing our table from her, and the experience has been pretty crap. When we finally just sat at the bar, she told us the new waiters do that to corner the regulars who tip well. Wow. Stealing someone's regulars is a huge no-no in any restaurant I've worked in. Like, enough to get you sh*t canned. I work at a Chinese takeaway, and I was working one Christmas Eve, and I got called everything. I just wanted to go home and cry, and this guy handed me a full bottle wine. Another time I was freezing at work and a guy went home and gave me a hot water bottle. Angels do exist. This. I worked in the cold before and I hate it. I always have an extra huge fluffy blanket and some cookies/snack by my door whenever I order delivery. There was one girl who fit on Rslash human tippy taps with how excited she got at getting a blanket. I hope you enjoyed it, Cheryl from Domino's. That guy sounds great. I'm so glad he could turn your day around. When I was in college, I worked at a crappy diner as a waitress, and within my first few weeks at the job I lost a friend to an overdose, ended up in the hospital with an infection, only half a day, and had a myriad of other small unfortunate things happen. I was a mess and still learning. A small family sat down on a Sunday morning, and we were packed. There was a long wait. I got their drink order, brought it back, and made the mistake of asking them to give me 1 second before I got their food order. Can't remember the situation that required me. The father went ballistic, ching about how I was going to be the reason they were going to be late for church. They were in a hurry, and wanted to eat and get out ASAP. I was so taken aback because, well, he chose our diner over multiple fast food restaurants, saw the wait, continued to wait, and then wanted to blame me. I thought it was a joke, but he not only asked for a manager, but continued to deride me the whole time by calling me stupid and incompetent and other hurtful things. I went to the back and cried. I finished serving them with puffy eyes but tried to be tough. They left, but the wife came back in and apologized for her husband, but I still got no tip. It crushed me when I was already in such a fragile state. A guy who was seated not far from them watched and listened to all of it. He called me over and said, "Huh. Christians. What a man to make a waitress cry over his poor time management skills. I hope he learned something in church." He tipped me $60. I broke down and cried so hard I had to sit in the back for 10 minutes again after I thanked him profusely. I still remember him 7 years later, and I've paid that forward multiple times when I see waitstaff getting sh*t on by rude customers. They came in through the kitchen. Just heard this story from my coworkers. A few days ago, I was off this day. Our restaurant had just closed at 9. We usually always lock our doors at 9 on the dot. You can get out, but you can't get in. Apparently at around 9:15-ish, when the servers were finishing up closing, and the kitchen staff was doing their nightly closing duties, a group of men came in. Some of the servers saw them try several doors. Front door main entrance, which was locked. They tried the 2 side doors on the patio, locked. Our to-go has its own special doors customers aren't even supposed to go through, also locked when they tried it. We leave our back kitchen entrance unlocked and propped open so people can come in and out taking our trash. So these men come around back and help themselves to the back kitchen door. Walk through what I assume to be a very greasy, slippery wet floor, as it always is this time of night during closing. Our cook said they just looked at this guy's confused, not sure what to say, and one of the men asked a line cook if they still had time to sit and be served. Kitchen manager, who was also closing manager, overhears this, and was like, "Of course, come in," and shows them to the bar area. Makes the cooks fire up the grill again. Makes the bartender who had just pulled her drawer come back out to serve them. They wanted frozen margaritas and ice-blended drinks. She turns back on the margarita machine and pulls out the just-cleaned blender. They order, eat, stay and chat, and leave a roughly 15% tip. Our GM and another manager heard about this and are pissed. We don't usually do this kind of thing, and now they're going to expect this forever now. That kitchen manager should be fired, and those customers, if they ever try doing something like that again, should be 86-foot D. Call up cops for trespassing, because you know if they took a digger in the kitchen, they'd sue. Absolutely. It's a safety issue for everyone. Plus it's a great way to lose a ton of money. There is no way what they bought made up for the extra closing time. Your coworkers should have looked at the manager and told them no, you're letting them in after hours, you serve them, and clean up once they're done, the rest of us are going home. They're probably afraid of being written up or something. The money was even done. This whole thing is insane. What kind of psycho kitchen manager would ever do that? It's always kitchen managers. I hope he gets a reaming. Also, please don't prop the door open, you never know what kind of maniac might come in. That's true. I work a chain restaurant and there's stories of robbers coming in at night that way. Or varmint. That's just crazy. It won't even cover what it cost them to stay open and clean again. Not to be an anti-work conspiracy theorist, but that's probably why the GM was mad about it. And or they have a soul. Maybe a combo in a perfect world? Fire that manager. There's no way the store made money staying open for just those few people. That ruined everyone's night just for the store to be negative during that hour. I hope the GM ripped them apart the next day. I wish they'd fire him, lol, nobody likes him. Once had a family move benches and caution tape from the front entrance to the restaurant to barge in while we were closed for renovations. The mom yelled up at me on top of a 20-foot ladder while I was painting to ask why they weren't being served. She tried to hire an attorney and sue us after she got green paint on her dress, because she sat on a freshly painted bench after I told her they had to leave as we were closed and everything was covered in paint. She left a lovely review on our Facebook page. Idiots, find a way. OMG, the employees in my restaurant would have laughed her out of the building. Like tears streaming down, laughing, especially if she got paint on her. That's hilarious. People are insane. Seriously makes me wonder if they were actual trolls and doing some sort of skit. I'm sorry that guy sent you in here, he must not have known, but we are indeed closed as of about 15 minutes ago. How on earth could their total bill be worth firing up the engines again? Manpower, energy, etc. This knucklehead is very great at losing the forest for the trees. Customers eye in the kitchen. Health and safety violations all round. I'd tell the kitchen manager if they ever do this again, you'll walk and report them to OSHA. And health department. KM needs a lesson in fixed ops and just how much it cost the restaurant to serve the table versus what was grossed, let alone netted. A customer asked me on the phone to see a menu. Yep. I answered the phone at work and this lady wants to place a to-go order. I say, alrighty, what can I get for ya? Well, what do you guys have? Excuse me? Can I see a menu? My face was just pinkey808.exe has stopped working. I'm like, online? Well, how do I do that? I started to tell her our website and she hung up on me. How are these people getting around and existing in the same world as us? In today's world, common sense has become a superpower. Feels like a curse among these people. I think common sense isn't that common anymore. She probably wanted to write you a check as well. Sorry, we only accept requests for checks by fax machine. Worked a parts counter at a motorcycle shop for a time and once had a guy call and ask what tires of a specific size we had in stock. I named off the brands and models, and then he said, "Describe the Super Corsos to me." "Round, black, made out of rubber." He got mad and asked to speak to my manager, who told him that it seemed like a perfectly good description of the tire, but he was welcome to come in himself to verify that his was, in fact, round, black, and made out of rubber. Was he getting rims or something? Who bases the tires they get off of what the tread looks like on a brand new tire? LMAO. Is it possible he was asking your opinion about the brand or something along those lines? I think my least favorite phone calls are the "what do you have" phone calls. Please just come in and look at the menu. I'm not reading it to you. Used to work the front counter of a deli. Had more than one person come up and ask what was on the menu. I would turn around, lean back over the counter, and proceeded to read the menu that was hung over my head as fast as I could. Got more laughs than complaints. Ugh, this. I used to be a hostess, and we handled takeout, and the number of people who would call up looking to order only to ask "what do you have for chicken dishes" was appalling. Then they would proceed to have me read off nearly the entire menu, because they couldn't be bothered to look online. No, it's okay, you're not taking up all my time, in the middle of Saturday night dinner rush. On a similar note, telling someone over the phone that we're closed and the reply being, "Google says you're open." Just, okay. Maybe Google will make your pizza. I love the when we tried calling and nobody answered "what the hell" comments when people call the restaurant half an hour before open. This. People will call and when told the hours come back with "well, Google says." They are asked why they called. "We were just checking." Our reply is "good thing you did then." Most just laugh it off. Some do not. Welcome to Costco. I love you. This comment is so underrated. Take my upvote. Years ago, before there was an internet, I worked in a French restaurant with an enormous menu. Old people would routinely call and ask the maitre d' to read them the menu over the phone. Then came fax machines. You are so right. I remember the office manager faxing the specials to all the regulars in the morning. This does not surprise me. Do you know how many people try to drive up the backside of a car wash? They pass 2 signs that say "do not enter" in the process. And then get mad at the employees when they try to stop them. I once had a customer call to ask what our phone number was. The only time anything like that should be asked if it is for the specials of the day. That's it. And that's only if it's not updated online daily. That's one where you are just left speechless. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.